Mr. Robbie.
Good afternoon. We
How we
appear
doing,
to
friend?
be recording. Just checking at the beginning.
We
Systems
are.
check.
I make sure. You know what? It's 1% better every week. Just trying to make sure that we get all those details down.
Yeah. No, I'm good. It's my walking conditions probably been a little weird. I'm not wearing a hat. I'm in a business environment. I just shoveled a bunch of food into my gut, and now I'm walking around the parking lot here in Orlando, and it's like I don't know, 40 some degrees, and it's been raining all morning, and luckily it's not raining right now.
Oh, nice. Okay. So it broke. It broke perfectly just for this moment.
Wow, we were supposed to be at Universal Studios for 4 hours tonight, riding roller coasters, and they have 800 umbrellas for us. So I'm just hopeful it broke
Oh,
for that.
goodness. Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah,
What is it in Disney? Like, because it's Disney, obviously you're going to. Um,
Universal Studios.
oh, Universal. Okay. Uh, what are you? I have a favorite roller coaster there at Universal, and I think it might be changing actually. Do you have a favorite ride there that you know of, or no? Is this all?
I love Universal, and I think that here's the issue. I don't know. I don't know the name of the section of the park that we get, so they don't give us the whole thing.
Hmm.
We only get like a section. Last year, I can't remember exactly where it was. It was back in the back. This year, I think it's a different section. We get there early enough that we get to ride Hulk, the big green one in the front. That's my
That's it.
favorite.
That's my favorite. That's the
Yeah.
best.
Yeah. Both of my boys to ride it the first time had to wear Healy shoes without the heels so that they were tall enough to be on it.
Oh, nice.
So I'm telling you how long ago my son has a child now, but yeah, back in the day, that's my spot. And we'll get to do that. And the only bad part about that is we have to go through that whole locker thing. Remember where you have to go scan the locker, put all your stuff in the locker, and then you have to go and
Yeah.
ride the ride. That's the only one
Yeah.
I think that we have to deal with. But yeah, it's good. How are you
All
doing?
right. Doing well. We I was mentioning this morning to everybody that it's really cold here. It's not that bad actually. I thought it was going to be like less than 10 degrees. It's like 20 degrees right now, 19 degrees. But I normally bike into the city to work out of the gym today. I had to ask my wife, and I said, "Is it okay if I stay home?" So I did, but still getting out. It's tough at the gym. It's not as easy to get in and out, and you kind of like really kind of hole up there, which is a challenge. And to be honest, I mean that's the biggest thing about kind of getting these walks in there, is that I'm more creative. Even like working memories better, all those kind of things. So we want to make sure we're doing everything we can to get through. I got it, Norris. So it's nice to make it happen. That's where we're at. Hey, Robbie, where are you at with steps right now? Do you have an idea?
I don't know if I can do this fast. I will try to do this quickly. And I
Yeah,
don't know
check
if
it
I
out.
do I disappear when I do this?
A little bit. That's okay.
All right.
Uh, but yeah, if anyone's just checking in, I mean, this is Lap 2 with Robbie Mattson. Robbie has walked around the world in steps once already, and the amount that he's been able to take in during his walks, in terms of education, as he calls it, with podcasts and audiobooks, is just incredible. So we've been tracking as he gets through his second lap exactly what's going on. And I'm joining Robbie here because it's something that I know when we work with talk to busy dads and parents, finding that extra time to make it happen can be tough, but we got to do it. What are you seeing there, Robbie?
33,906. I'm almost to
Whew.
34,000.
Wow, man.
And then I got days like
Congratulations.
yesterday. I traveled, I sat in cars, I sat in Ubers, I did all these things. And if I hadn't walked 2.5 miles at the airport in Dallas before I left, I would have gotten to 10,000 steps. So
Yeah,
I still have slow days,
I hear you.
no grace.
Do you tend to make up for those days by getting more steps in there another day?
I used to be a lot more, I think you have talked a little bit about this. I used to be a lot more, yes, I have to do it. And in days or times when I was simply trying to accomplish that goal of the circumference, there was nothing alternative but to make up for it. And now I've learned as an older man to give myself just a little bit of grace and not try and go figure out how to make up for it and know I'm on a journey. And I think I've had some growth there. But yes, in the past, when I was on the mission, yeah, the next day it was 14 miles or 16 miles, but whatever I had to do to get there.
Yeah, I can hear that. I feel like it's good to have those goals sometimes. You kind of need those financially, anything that's kind of happening there. But one thing I think I was talking with someone earlier today just about like the health benefits. We were talking a lot about like muscle health,
Right.
but even like the walking right now, I think the thing that I hear people are starting to come out of it a little bit more, but seasonal depression is one thing. I think people use that loosely, but
Yep.
hey, if you're feeling down, whatever, your mood's a little bit less than optimal, we're gonna have issue. But I think the more that we can inspire, the more that we can kind of push people to also walk, right? It can easily help with everyone's mindset. We recently were sharing some information around the 7,000 steps, right? 7,000 steps being that kind of limit, or rather
Yep.
that threshold to hit to really reduce depression. That was a really big thing. What else? What else in terms of walking, either certain distances or being outside right now, do we need to get across to people to make sure that they are, looking more than just, it's just walking. I will be selling it.
Uh, for me, it's my mental health, but I talk about that every time. And I needed
Totally.
to get out. I've been sitting in a room with like 2,000 other employees and friends and colleagues, and sitting in a chair, and you get these light shows and everything's great. And the guy right behind me was snoring like he had fallen asleep. And I'm like, I just need to move around. So I'm actually freezing my tush off right now,
Oh yeah.
but it feels just great. Like I'm so happy to be outside of the room.
Uh, it's that push. You kind of need to kind of refocus on certain things, and again, kind of get creative. I think it's also that type of thing too. Man, those conferences, to basically what you're doing, right? It's like people are always like, "How do I eat healthy at these conferences?" I'm like, "Well, it's up to
You
you."
don't.
I
You
mean,
don't.
it's up to you what you do, before, and what you bring with you and all those things, because most of these conferences, they're just trying to kind of, they're trying to make a bottom line here. And,
Yep.
most of the food that they're going to provide you are going to be cheaper, and they're going to be, these more these hyper palatable foods. So, it's always about like, what can you bring? And, regardless of what's in front of you, you have a decision of what goes in your mouth. But I think when it comes to like blood sugar control, these things, you see a lot of people that are eating these like really high carb foods. It's going to end up putting you to sleep, just like that guy behind you, you know,
Yes. Yes. And I'm
get
going to
out.
give the guy,
Yeah.
I'm going to give the guy a little bit of grace. He's from the UK, so he flew over 48 hours ago. He's, 6 hours, 8 hours, whatever it is, out of whack from his body. And then at these get-togethers, and I don't do it anymore because I don't drink, but it's obligatory to see who can close the bar down the first night.
Sure.
So when you
Yeah.
add all those together, I'm surprised more people weren't sleeping.
I'm sure. What is the
Hey,
conference about? Is this you?
most say win Lambo, but I'd rather have one of these. So
Wait, I can't see. It's too tiny. Tell me, what is it? Porsche? Boxster?
911 convertible,
Oh,
Targa, beautiful. This is in our world, this is called SKO, sales kickoff.
okay. And is this just within your
Just my
company?
company. Yep, just
Got
my
it.
company.
Okay.
Yep.
Tell me more about this sales kickoff. What's actually happening with that? What's kicking off? What's the message?
Ascend, ASCEND. That's the message.
Okay.
Every year there's a theme and a call to order or a call to battle or whatever the term is. I never know what I'm supposed to say, but there's a redefining of messages. We're 14 months into a new CEO, and
Oh,
his goal and his, I've been here 4 years, but his goal and his marching orders as he redefined the way that we do business based on McDonald's
oh,
and
okay.
the history of McDonald's. And most people don't know this. It's kind of tidbit, and if you're into Trivial Pursuit, you might win a pie for this. But The value meal, the Happy Meal, all those meals from McDonald's did not come from McDonald's. It came from a partner that owned a franchise store, and he had the franchise store. I think it was in Southern California, and he created the bundles. So we have been over the last 14 months trying to take, because I do email security. I do basically I work for the number one cybersecurity vendor in I think the world, but at least for what we do for email. And we've continued to try and take and condense it down to where it's easily consumable instead of having to say, I want these 15 different pieces. I can say, I want this package A, and you get all the parts that make it the way it is. So that's really the whole goal, is trying to get us refined and on message and on point.
Okay, got it.
Yeah.
Is this would you say there's anything there that's real world applicable to anybody, or is it mainly just on sales? Or should everyone be doing this? Is this something that everyone has to be doing?
Well, I mean, if you're an organization and you have, just like us with personal, if you have goals and you have, a desire to get to a certain point, you have to have a plan. You have to have, the correct, I'm trying to think of resources, and you need to go and execute on that. So it's the same for, I mean, I think it's the same methodology for any human that's trying to do any sort of a task or situation where they're trying to get to a new goal. So I
Sure.
think it's applicable. I think it's applicable to everybody.
All right. I mean, goal setting just in general, I think it's something that a lot of people aren't doing. Uh, you know
Most
what I
people are
find?
winging it, winging it.
Yes, that's what I find. I find that I s- there's a lot of disgruntled people when, they're talking about any outcome.
Right.
And my first question is, well, what was your expectation? And they'll kind of rattle something off.
Yeah.
And it's like the same thing as someone being like, yeah, I wanted to make $1 million this year. Oh, okay. What did you
Great.
do? Did you like, what was going, were you just crossing your fingers?
Right.
And a lot of times people don't really know. They're like, oh, I just heard that's what I should be doing, right? Or, you know, uh, the health world, I can obviously think of a applicable, analogy there. But
Right.
I think not a lot of people are actually setting appropriate expectations for themselves, and they're just letting themselves become disgruntled and upset. And then, what I always see is people kind of walking themselves into the fuck it. So, well, fuck it. I guess I didn't do it. I'm not going to do it again. Like, it's like, yeah, but you didn't do, it's not that you didn't do the work. You didn't set the right expectations for you to realize that you're actually making progress. That's the biggest challenge I see with people. And I'm sure sales is the same way, right?
Well, yeah, I was gonna say expectations is one thing, but having just the proper setup, having the proper, you never, I think, I can't remember if it was on screen or off screen, but we were talking about setting ourselves up for um winning, and you have to prepare. You have to, so I have a coffee every morning, and you always call me the consistent guy. And how do you do it? Well, I'm not at home. Guess what? I have a portable blender that charges, and I took it and it's with me. And everything that I make my coffee with in the morning was with me. And so, guess what? When I got up this morning, I had the same cup of coffee I have at home because I set myself up for success. Most people would get here and be like, yeah, I can't figure out where to get my coffee, and I don't know where to get this, and I don't know how to do that. It's like, well, you could have just brought it with you. But that's what I'm getting at. Is I think most people can do things if they're in the mindset of helping themselves and setting themselves up with the proper, not only expectations, but supplies to make the expectations come true.
Yeah. I just, I think I don't like seeing people get upset. I hate seeing people get less confident, right? I
Yep.
love helping people build confidence. And I think you only build confidence by understanding, those appropriate expectations based on the appropriate, goal setting and what you can actually do. Um, can I ask something else? I thought this was good.
Yeah.
I wanted to, so we're at like about 15 minutes in. This is actually really nice. I haven't really been able to walk here at this time in Brooklyn, but I know exactly where my mile mark is. And my mile mark is like 15 minutes in, so it helps a ton.
Okay.
We're about 15 minutes in right now. I'm at Atlantic. Avenue in Brooklyn here. Um, Current events that are affecting men, affecting health,
Yep.
but overall, what are we seeing in the news right now?
Okay, so I'm going to start with the very beginning, which is I try not to watch the news. I try not to
Sure.
involved in any of that at all. I think most stuff is set up for either entertainment or fear-based propaganda anyway, so I try to stay away from it. I do, because I'm on X with you and other people, I do get clips and different pieces. So modern things that I'm watching a president that came in and launched a multi-billion-dollar coin, which I still don't understand because
Oh, goodness.
I'm a fan of utility, and I don't see an ounce of utility in that. I just see it all as like speculatory bullshit. But that's probably not what you were going to ask about. What in the news would I not have seen?
No. That's exactly that's it. That's current events is more along the lines of what I was thinking about because when well, I recently we were talking about this. I was like, I have to find a book. I have to find a book that's not all about self-help.
Yep.
I have to find a book that I'm not trying to like, I don't need more growth mindset stuff right now, although we
Yep.
could always benefit from it, right?
Yeah.
But I was like, I need to have my brain escape a little bit more. And I found a book, it was really good. Um, and I'm still listening to it on my walks, which is awesome. I think it's like 19 hours, which
Okay.
is good to know. But it is really cool. It's basically about it's called The Chain,
The chain.
and it is about how around us is something that we don't see, but it's called the chain. And really, the chain is it's scary. It's about how some of these groups on like we just call like the dark web, they are leveraging their ability to get money by putting people through certain tasks. Like one thing is like kidnapping someone's child,
Okay.
and then uh, you can ask someone's child, they have to pay a ransom, but then you create the chain by making sure that they not only have to pay the ransom, but now they have to also kidnap someone else's kid. It keeps the chain going. It's a really dark book, really, if you
Yeah,
think about it. But
I was gonna say it sounds pretty sad, but okay, I hear
but
you.
I mean, really, what I love about the book itself and what I look for is like looking at the psyche of people and how they deal with these situations, and that's kind of like where it's coming from. Like, how is this mother who's put in this situation? How is she dealing with it?
Okay.
And so it is interesting to kind of look at, but it also kind of makes you think about the world around you and everything that's going on. And maybe it kind of scares you, whatever else is happening. But anyway, regardless, it did help me escape a little bit of like that whole self help, self development, some of the current events that are going on. And I thought that it was really helpful. But then returning back in with a different mindset was good. So looking at, this administration coming in and what they're doing and those current events is good. I feel like we all can kind of come with more of an objective way of listening to what's actually happening in the world. That's why I think that, you know, I think I understand some things about your philosophy in life and understanding how you're looking at this administration, how someone else might be looking at it too. I think that's definitely helpful, or how we're looking at new research of certain things. All those things are good. Um, when it comes to the Trump coin, right? That's what we're talking about.
Yep.
You said that it doesn't have any utility, but you're seeing people kind of go off on it. What kind of utility should be coming from a coin like that, you think?
I'm gonna back up.
Yeah,
I'm I'm looking at it as a dumpster fire, and at the same time, I'm looking at it as we just started 4 years of a new chapter. And do I want to see the whole world burn, or do I want to see all of us raise up and be the best that we can be and have the best opportunity we can have and grow? I'm in the latter camp. Back to the dumpster fire. I don't know what kind of utility you would give for a token of a president, especially a sitting president,
yeah,
that, the only reason that he was able to get it all done was because he did it on a Friday afternoon, Saturday morning when the other guy was getting ready to check out, and he was still in purgatory and not really fully in. And so I don't know, are they going to give everybody a gold commemorative coin that has his picture on it? I hope not. Are you going to get to go stay at one of his hotels and you get VIP service? Probably not. I just don't see any real value in it. And I think it's just absolutely 100% pure speculation and the worst side of the casino that this technology that you and I are embracing has brought to the table.
Yeah, I mean, when I think about these like meme coins, these shit coins here, I would never expect a any type of utility from it minus just making money from it, you know?
Yeah.
So it's a, if you want to make money, go ahead and do it. It does make me kind of look at I thought was interesting, regardless of where someone was kind of sitting with their like political ideologies, like people were buying Trump coin or upset they didn't get the Trump coin. And it just made me think, it's like deep down, not that I don't trust humanity, but it looks like despite who's giving it to you, who's putting it out there, despite what's behind it, you just wanted to make money. That's all you care about, which I think is an important thing because yeah, we do need money. That's the way that our society was built. Especially the US here. It's like we do need money, right? It is a free market. We need to make sure that we have these opportunities. I just think it's interesting to watch people kind of shit on certain ideas or be all about it.
Yeah.
And even now you're seeing some people that are, looking at this coin as, something that is incredibly negative or something that could be positive. I don't really know, but it's interesting to watch people kind of focus on this and money being the biggest driver behind what their opinion is.
Yep.
And to me, I'm like, oh, okay, then you might not be the person that I'm going to look at next time I think something really comes up to. That's okay. Like if you want to be about money, be about money. That just puts you a different camp in my mind. But
Have we talked about Idiocracy?
Did we the movie?
Yeah, have I ever brought that up with you?
I think you may have because I know that we talked about it on a podcast at some point. But yeah, what's up?
It's the state of our world. Like it's where we are, and I'm trying to figure out how we can be the light in that dark world because it's this flamboyant wrestler now or whatever is the president, and he's the most smartest guy in the world, and he's like, I can save the world. He's got to water the plants, and my favorite line is, "You mean the water from the toilet?" Because all they do is drink Gatorade, right? Because it's got electrolytes.
Yeah.
That's where we are. Like,
yeah.
And I'm trying to figure out. I'm not a doomsdayer, so I can't have this belief that we are circling the rim. And at the same time, it's just kind of very, very, very concerning. So I don't know. I don't know how we get out of the tailspin.
Shower thoughts. I feel like
Shower
right now, like the general idea of like sometimes you have your best thoughts in the shower.
Yeah.
And what was the other? Remember the book? Who was the author that he would have like, it would be funny quotes or funny statements. What was it? It was like people used to put this up as their like AIM messages all the time. But it was like deep thoughts with like not Richard Scary. That was like whatever it was. But like there was like the funny thoughts, but like that's kind of where I think that we are a lot of times right now. Like between shower thoughts that could be deep enough, but then there's some kind of humor behind it as well. But these walking thoughts I think are important because it's giving me some perspective on it as well. What do you think is the scariest thing about how we're thinking right now? Like, are we not pushing ourselves to think as dynamically as we need to, or what's the scariest part of it for you?
My feeling of what I believe is, I don't know if scary is the right word, but it's the word I'm going to let you use in this situation. What concerns me the most is we have become a society of absolute instant gratification, and I don't want to put the work in to be that 10,000 an hour overnight sensation, or you know what I'm saying?
Sure.
And the coin is just another notch in that belt of you bought a coin that everybody thought was from a hacked account, and now today you're worth $1 million because it turned out to be real, and now you don't have to do anything to earn $1 million, right? It's just like that's stupid to me. Like you need to be able to learn how to do the basics, the fundamentals, the be a good citizen. You need to learn how to be a what I try to tell my children, back to bringing the dads back to it. I wanted my children, and I think in the most case they are this. My bar was I want you to be a positive member of society. Like I don't
Yeah.
want you to take away, and I don't necessarily need you to give a whole bunch, but you need to be positive in the view of the society. Like people need to be happy that you're here, right? You're not seen as, well, shit, if we didn't have that person, we'd have had an extra meal every day to survive longer. I don't want that to be, and that's what I feel we're
Ooh,
at as we're in
it's
this
a
position where
dark one
everybody just
there.
wants to be. Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay. Well, I love that idea. I love the idea of that you said. Why do you think something like this kind of coin, or the shitcoin mentality, you feel like that's basically because people aren't just willing to put in the work? And
I think, well,
do you
it's
think that
back
we should be
to,
teaching kids how that works, or no?
I think we should be explaining to our children how all of this works. I also think sometimes it's really hard to hate the player and not just to hate the game. And the game of this is, why did the first guy spend 10,000 Bitcoin on two pizzas? I can share you the
Yeah.
secret because nobody else in the world was accepting Bitcoin as a value of money. So we have to do the plumbing. We have to put in the ability for me now. If I want to inject fiat into the system, I just do Apple Pay now, right? You have to put all of those systems and plumbing and electricity and all that stuff in place before it becomes valid. And I believe we are on this crest of becoming a cashless entity society that allows us to do these things and have us cut out the middleman and be more efficient. And to do all that, you have to have the plumbing, and the plumbing requires the casino. And if you don't have the casino, it doesn't get done.
Are we putting ourselves in a bad position by being all cashless?
If you believe in the people that talk about all the negatives of, hey, if you're out there and you don't, befriend the right group of people and they now don't want to like you and they want to deplatform you and they want to take your ability to do things away, there's some truth in that. I'm in the lead with love category versus the fear. So I'm trying to believe. And I just listened to that podcast I sent you. I can't remember the gentleman's name. I don't know if you had a chance to listen to it. He talks about two different areas. You have logic and intuition, the kind of feeling side of it.
Okay.
And everything that we do from birth till adulthood is to beat the intuitive side out of us and go 100% logic. And I like to believe, as his point of that is, that the world is trying to pull us back to love. It's trying to pull us back to, a system where we're about embracing each other. And so I don't know. I don't know. I'm putting myself in a situation where I'm believing the most positive outcome to the situation rather than allowing the most negative be the thing that keeps me from doing it.
Is love really the most intuitive thing that we have deep within our body?
The
Or do we have to be taught love?
I think we need to be able to talk, we need to learn how to, and I love for you to listen to it and us have more of a conversation after you hear kind of what he has to say. But he's really talking about the logical side is there, and it teaches you how to beat down the other side. And where I'm going with that is that if you try and connect with somebody, if your logical brain is involved, it won't work. Right? It pushes it out and it doesn't allow you to function. You have to be in yourself. So he's talking about breathing and mental and meditation, and being able to sit in silence and allow yourself to connect. And the quick story I would give is we stay at the same kind of general area a lot of the same time at the same Airbnb when we go down to the Caribbean. We were down in the Caribbean 2 trips ago. Major hurricane was coming in. The host and I were sitting there talking, and she looked at me and she's like, I think we're going to be all right. I don't feel negative in the storm. I don't feel negativity in you. I feel like, I'm connected. We're going to be all right. We buckled down anyways. We bolted all together. We got the next day. Everything was fine. Ultimately, it was not a bad storm. I think that there's more of that ability to be connected to Gaia, your nature, to our fellow man, to the point where I've even had conversations with my bride about, I've watched as an adult all these people making fun of people that do yoga and Reiki and tree hugging and all the stuff that they're talking about. And it's like, but that's kind of where we need to be. We kind of need to be more connected. We need to be open to being part of this, globe of possibility that we live on. So yeah, I think there's, to recap, I think there's a lot of negativity that we're watching and that we could see coming from it. My choice is I'm choosing to believe the best outcome possible, and I'm manifesting and working towards that being reality.
Got it. I know. I want to make sure that you can go. I don't want to keep you. I like what you're saying, Ash, but I mean, like a lot of these things might seem like they are somewhat disconnected, but I think the idea of being a cashless society with everything you just said, logic when it comes to money, being a cashless society, looking at these meme coins, there's a lot of things that would tell us don't do that. Don't end up, you know, uh, don't put money into this, don't put money in that. It's going to come down to numbers. But I love your example, by the way. Like being down in the Caribbean, like logic would have told you to leave, not be there. But the fact
Yeah.
is that, you and someone else trusted each other to support each other, be there, make sure that you're just, balancing out, risk and all that. What a great example, Robbie. That's really cool.
Thanks.
I do like the idea there of making sure that we kind of check ourselves, not be too logical, maybe leading with love needs to be put up against logic a little bit. I need it. I needed to hear that. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. And I hadn't thought about it that way. So I'm glad that you said it out loud. That makes more sense to me too. I always say fear and love are, the um, opposites of each other. And at the same time, I think that logic can sometimes get in the way to great creativity, right? No, I can't do that because that's against the rules. And I think I've heard a couple of speakers, and I don't know if I'm going to claim this as my own, but if it wasn't for the dreamers, if it wasn't for the rule breakers, if it wasn't for the people that were trying to find a way to game the system, I don't think we'd have the advancements that we have. So, as much as you want to not like that group, or, as much as that group is demonized, I'll use it that way. I like everybody, but as much as that group is demonized, it's a necessary part of our community and society.
I think that's great. If the first person did not buy pizza with Bitcoin and they weren't dreaming of what it could actually become, maybe Bitcoin wouldn't be what it is today, you know?
Perfect. I mean, 100%. Really, somebody had to be that first guy, and now they make fun of the guy because it's like, yeah, it was 10,000 coins. It was like $10 million or whatever it is now, or $100 million. Like, yeah, that guy's an idiot. And it's like, yeah, but
You wouldn't have
there
known
was
that. You
no,
can't. Yeah.
you can't know that. You can't have that. I mean, Nostradamus is the only guy I know that had that kind of prediction capabilities.
And he was just drunk tonight. I have no clue. But no,
May have been.
he was
May
just
have
he was
been.
just yelling things. It just happened to be true. No, I
Yeah.
don't know. I always like talking about Nostradamus, but I know that there's a lot of trust involved in believing that kind of stuff too. And it just happens to be, you know, a guy that was right more times than wrong.
Is
And
it
that's
always
important because he
trust, or
was wrong.
is it also faith, right? It's not just trust, it's faith, right? A little bit of, I gotta believe that there's this out there, and I don't know. I
Can I
back to love. Yeah, go ahead.
the I um I want to make sure that I'm not keeping you at a conference. I thought you
No,
said 30 minutes. So I just want to make sure you're okay.
I'm walking back in, and you have me for 5 more minutes or less.
All good. I wanted to understand quickly. This is completely selfish as I run across this busy street. Um, That difference between faith and trust? Can we end it there? Let me know. What is the difference?
I think they're I think they're similar. This is all just in my humble opinion, my belief. I think they're
Yeah.
both two in the same area. So if you were to say inches and feet, or they're in a similar mindset or similar group. I think I like to trust that the wood in my house is not rotting. I like to trust that this bottle isn't going to leak when I'm setting it in my bag. I like to trust that I'm going to, be able to use my right hand that's frozen to my phone, later today. That was my attempt at humor. And I think faith is taking that to that level where your belief is that if you do all the right things, and I don't know if right things, I have to define that, but just things that you believe are the correct or are generally the what is it, kind of the
You can say values, right? If you're,
yeah, that's
yeah.
better. I was trying to think of some sort of a funny way of saying like a source of truth kind of thing. But if you were to take and put faith into it, it's believing that if you're doing all the right things according to your values, that at the end of this, you're not going to be in a rainbow with a pot of gold, but you're going to get to an outcome that is positive.
I
That's what
hear
I
you.
would say.
Okay.
Do you have a different view on trust versus faith? How would you do it?
I was asking with no agenda or thought, except for the fact that they are very similar. And, not being as much of a religious individual myself, I think a lot of people, I think, use the word faith and very to keep themselves comfortable. That's not a negative thought, but to keep themselves kind of moving forward and, trusting life and all that,
Right.
as well as I think someone who maybe isn't looking at, a religious-based philosophy of any kind, they might use the word trust more. So, where is that difference, right? Is it just kind of, believing in the process? Is it believing in one thing or person or entity that's just kind of moving everything along? And so you're putting your trust in that person, or are you putting a trust in a process, or faith in a person and trust in a process, right? So I don't know. I don't think there is an answer. It does make me think really quickly. Last thought is Jordan Peterson.
Yeah.
Um, whatever you think about him. Uh,
Is it okay if I say I like him?
yeah, of course, yeah. There
Thanks.
was
Yeah, I like him.
someone. I think somebody was challenging him. I think very in a very healthy way.
Mhm.
You may have seen this clip, but it was talking about kind of like trusting third parties, and he goes, "No, no, no. There's no trusting third parties. I only trust myself." And someone was using examples of like, "Well, you trust that you're going to put your key in your car and you're going to turn it on and it's not going to explode." And he goes, no, 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 that's not that isn't the truth. It's like I trust the past experiences of me turning the key and didn't explode before. And the person goes, but yeah, but how about the 50th time? Who is trusting that the 50th time? So it was a good discussion, but it was
Yeah.
this idea of where are we placing our faith or our trust? And if we put up this wall, as Jordan Peterson, I think he was trying. I think it was a vaccine kind of discussion, but
Right.
it was. But I think basically, it was making the point that at some point we can't always just look into ourselves for everything we need. That we do have to give up a little bit of our trust, a little bit of our faith, however you want to describe it, to something. And if you don't surround yourself with those things or those peoples or those entities, you might be just not able to serve the world and be the good person that you're talking about that you want your kids to be. So
I think that back to what I said on the last one bedroom apartment should be outlawed. We are a community, we are a clan, we are a group that needs to have the ability to trust and have faith in that group, that, it's your people. And, you can't do everything by yourself, and you need to be able to leverage and have someone's back as they have your back. So yeah, I see and I understand what you're saying.
love it. All right, guys, let's leave it there for right now. But if you want to join us, come join us Wednesdays. Get at least another 3,000, 4,000 steps in with us, which is definitely something that can move your health in the right direction. Also, your mindset and everything else, too. We'll be here. So come join us. We'll be here. All right,
Appreciate
man.
you.
I hope you have a great conference, man. Talk to you soon.
Thanks. Talk to you soon. Take care.
Bye.
Bye.